All right, so we are here with Luke today. Me and Luke have been working together for just about 3 months now. And Luke has gone from making a total of 2K in 6 months to having one client be worth a total of 10K, as well as signing another 2K project and closing a total of 12K GBP in the last couple of months. In today's video, we're going to be going through how he has found the last 3 months. So to get into it, number one, Luke, if you can just give everyone watching a slight overview of what it is you do, how long you've been doing it for, and everything like that.
Yeah, so I've been selling AI as a solution for the past, I think about 9 months, since about September time. I sort of started out following the same rules that every YouTuber, every bigger account is suggesting, where it's doing cold email and doing all these little things and a lot of suggestions, which is doing free projects to get some work, but obviously free sort of devalues your costs. And since working with Samsung, it sort of really helped in understanding how to structure a price and actually price it based on the right value and charging the right amount that it actually looks like it's a good price. But yeah, what I generally do is in the audit section, so doing audits for companies, understanding all their workflows, and then obviously pitching them the development and building the results.
So for everyone's understanding, Luke sells a mix of custom AI using a range of different platforms, which a lot of people are trying to do at the moment. He also has a few productized offers that he can sell as well. We've built out a few different tiers and structures for it. I guess my first question for you, and you've touched on it, looking back to what those 6 months working on your own, trying to figure it out, compared to our 3 months working together, what do you think was the biggest change for you?
I think it was literally what I mentioned on just now, which is the pricing and the structure of it. I was doing projects for 200 to 400 pounds, and they were quite big projects as well. There's quite a lot of work in these, and I look back now and think, what was I doing? But yeah, it was understanding the structure and also with the outreach. So having it literally, it's just a funnel of, if we want this amount of calls per month, we need to do this amount, and there might be a little bit drop off here, and there's a percentage of close, and then just building systems that repeat these outcomes, so I can then just get these amount of book calls that I need to make the number I want to make.
100%. And like, obviously we went from, you were pitching £500 to 1,000. And then I think one of the first things that we pitched was 18K. Was that an eye opener for you in terms of understanding that the companies that you're speaking to do actually have this affordability, are comfortable with it, and really you're actually positioned way better by pitching that amount?
Definitely. I would like to have seen the outcome if I didn't work with you, that what I would have actually gone with, because I feel like it wouldn't have been anywhere near that. And yeah, there was a little bit of pushback on it. And then even though they didn't sign the 18, they signed a smaller project, and then they were really happy with that smaller project, and that led to a bigger project. So we're getting up to the 18. But yeah, I'd love to have known what I would have priced it at, because I've got no idea.
So for reference, for everyone watching, this is a super common belief, is like, if I charge less, then I'm undercutting the market, I'm giving them a bargain, and they're more likely to come forward with me if I charge less than the competitor. Whereas for the most part, and what I told Luke here is, they just want the job done. They want it done the right way. And the company you were speaking to, they make, I think it was around 1 to 5 million a year. Anything within that range, if you're talking to a small business that's maybe making $1 million a year, they've got 100K a month, okay? You're there pitching them something that's £500. They don't care about the price when it's that amount. They just care about getting it done. And when saying something that's 18K, Luke is now positioned as an expert, which he is. He's an absolute expert in what he does. You've been on talk shows, you've done presentations to lots of people, and your price has to reflect that. And I'm glad that we did meet before you pitched that deal, because I do wonder whether you pitched them £500. And bear in mind, he was saving them about 120K a year in the cost savings, which was how he mapped it out. Anything less than 18 would have been ridiculous to charge. So that's a little tip for anyone watching. I guess the question would be, is when we spoke and when we first met, what was it that made you move forward with me, maybe over someone else? And bear in mind, I know you've gone through like communities, and you mentioned a lot of the big guys, they've all told you to do things that haven't worked. What was it specifically about our conversation that made you go, yeah, this is the one?
I think it was definitely the one-to-one aspect. Like you said, I've done some groups we won't talk about, but yeah, one-to-one, and talk most days on WhatsApp, and obviously had the call a week. But yeah, it was sort of really handy to walk through. And obviously I'd seen a lot of your existing testimonials, so I sort of knew what I was getting and what results other people have had. So that sort of sold me.
Awesome. Okay. And I guess in terms of the service that we've done, obviously we cover a range of different things. What do you think were some of the most beneficial systems that we put in place, other than just obviously the big one, which is the positioning and pricing, which made an immediate difference? I guess beyond that, what were some of the things where you noticed an impact?
Yeah, I think in the outreach. So, we showed me some of your systems and we built a couple up that, part of the funnel or helping with the posting and the scheduling and getting all that basic. As I sell automations, I probably should be using them for myself. So yeah, it was helping me set up those kind of systems.
Yeah.
Everything does actually happen. And it is, instead of doing everything the night before, it's done, 4 hours on a Monday, and that we're good for the week.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like such a key point, because like a lot of people, when they're running a business, and I hear this all the time, is like they feel like they're constrained by time. And it's like, that's because they're spending their time every single day just trying to do more. Whereas, the approach, especially if you know AI and automation, should be, let me spend my time building systems that just allow more to happen rather than spending my time on the work itself. So I think that's a really key point. In terms of your approach to business, so I guess just the way that you look at business as a whole, has anything changed in our duration of working together in terms of the way that you maybe looked at signing clients before to maybe the way that you look at it now?
Definitely in the sales calls, I've always been the developer. I've never really been in sales calls until I started this business. And that was sort of an eye opener of like, oh dear, now I've got to actually do the sales calls. But yeah, how of positioning it as like, I'm saving this person, might be £120,000. It's not selling them, it's sort of saving them, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. And then I guess, how would you rank, working with me and our level of service compared to anything else that you've experienced before?
You're at the top. Come on.
Yeah,
yeah, I think definitely the one-to-one is really helpful. Yeah, compared to what I've done in the past, I've never had results like this, so it's always a good sign.
Okay, and obviously I know, like, on our initial call, when you very first spoke, like many people are, you were somewhat hesitant and potentially reluctant. I guess, how did you feel after you made that decision and you took that first step? Let's say after our first couple calls, did that sort of give you the confidence and make you and reaffirm that you'd made the right decision?
So I think we first spoke, it was just before I did a presentation with the town that I'm in front of, I think about 30 people. And at that point, I sort of had no idea what I was really going to say or how I was going to structure it. And we sort of ran through, I think that was the first couple of calls, actually just running through that, looking at some frameworks of how people have done it before and how to sort of cold or sort of warm pitch people at the end. And obviously that landed the couple of clients that I'm working with now. So yeah, it was just really helping with the understanding of how to actually get people over the line without making it just look like a whole sales event.
Yeah, 100%. I'm now remembering that was literally, I think, our first call. If I'm remembering our sales call correctly, you said to me, it's like, well, I've got a call with, I've got a presentation with 30 people in the next couple of weeks or whatever. And I remember saying to you, like, listen, if you work with me, I can borderline guarantee that, like, if we spend a call putting together that full presentation, that you will sign clients from that. And you may not have believed me at the time, but then obviously we went through, we put together the full presentation, you ran that presentation, and that then resulted in one client being worth 10 grand to you, which is a complete game changer to where you were at before. Because I think a lot of people and a lot of the information that you'll see online is like, give away this work for free and do it until you get to 10K a month, where it's like, if you simply restructure your offer, make sure that it's actually valuable, then for us, 10K a month is just one client now, which is a completely different ball game to spending your whole month trying to book as many calls as possible. Because I know people that will spend all of their time focusing on just getting as many calls as they can, but then their offer's only worth 1K. And it's like, you're going to have to find 10 people just to make 10 grand in a month. Luke has to find one person a month. And that's now a much more achievable goal, right? So, yeah, I'm glad we could stay true to that promise that we made. Okay, a common objection that I get from people, Luke, is they say, okay, let me figure it out first, or let me, come and set this kind of stuff up later. Let me get my first few clients, then I'll implement the systems that enable me to get clients, right? So I guess what I would ask for you is, do you think you would have been able to potentially figure this stuff out by yourself? And do you think you'd be in the same position today had you not taken that step 3 months ago?
Well, I think the 6 months before that sort of say that basically no. I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously stuff was picking up and it's difficult when you start. But yeah, looking at the sort of 5 or 6 months before that, where it was low pitching people, pitching pretty much what it cost to me. So there wasn't really any money in it. And, there wasn't, I needed to understand, okay, this is the value being given. Yeah, so I don't think I would have, anywhere near where I am now, especially, looking at the 6 months where, there was a lot of £400, maybe £800, maybe there was £1,000 project. But it was, it was understanding the value that sort of I'm providing and how I should price it. And I'd love to have looked back and seen what I would have done for the presentation and what I would have done, how I might have still won that client, never know, but I never would have gone in at 18.
No. And I think when we went through it and I said, you're going to pitch 18, I could see the kind of shock on your face. And it is a kind of mindset shift of realizing that you are actually worth that, in terms of a lot of people, they don't have full clarity on their offer. They don't understand the value proposition and what they're actually doing for people. And that's why they undercharge. Whereas when we went through and we mapped out, well, this is how much it's going to save the company, the 18 was reasonable. And then when you realize that, it's oh, I actually can sell something for this amount because I can provide this amount of value. And I think, I guess another question is did you feel like there was maybe any mindset shifts whilst we were working together that maybe just unlocked a new way of, I guess, operating as a whole because you realized a few things? Was there anything for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a complete change in mindset, really. You just realize that, it is honestly on the value, and underpricing is never really that good. You look at stuff on Temu, whatever, the sofa or whatever, and it's a tenth of the price it should be. And there's nothing in your head that you think, oh yeah, that must be really good value. You just think it's going to be a load of shit, isn't it?
Precisely. And this is something that I think so many people miss, is a lot of business is based on people's perception of you rather than the offer. In terms of, you could be selling the same offer, but one person gives them a bunch of confidence by a premium price, premium positioning. The other person makes them look like a Temu option that's just going to break when they buy it, right?
Yeah.
It's a really key point. I guess, given your AI knowledge when we first started, do you feel that there's been a major change in your understanding of AI over the 3 months?
Yeah, I think so. So a lot of the AI systems that we've sort of done and a part of now my workflows that might be the onboarding flow or how we're getting leads in is definitely changed. I know a lot already, but definitely some of the platforms we're using now and the systems and see what amazing Claude is doing these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, I think a lot more, which might not be sort of tools related, but YouTube and all these platforms are full of so much shiny object that actually all these big creators, they're telling all these videos about you can make this, how make this, and a lot of it's just a load of rubbish or very top of funnel where it's just telling you and then upselling you later.
And then what I wanted to ask, because a word that I hear a lot of people tell me in these kind of interviews is one of the biggest changes is clarity, in terms of, you mentioned it right there, the shiny object syndrome, the heaps of information that people are pushing out online. You end up in a place where it's I don't even know what to act on. So I guess if I was just to say the word to clarity to you, how would you, I guess, look at that in terms of the work that we've done together?
Yeah, definitely on the offer. So before, I think I was just offering custom solutions, and the audit was there as an offer, but there was no structure, there was no guarantee, there was no almost Google Doc about it. There wasn't to basically line out this exactly what this will be. And that also made it a lot easier to sell, because then people could see, okay, I'd run you through this section. I've got this is exactly what it'll be. This is the guarantee. These are the outcomes. So what you'll get. And that really helped me sort of clarify exactly what I was selling to them. And obviously that was better for me and for the prospects.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. And then I guess looking ahead to the next 3 to 6 months, you're a changed man to when we first met. You can see more confidence in both your ability in business, but also more confidence in your offer, which is so unbelievably important. I guess just looking ahead, how do you feel, going into the next kind of 3 months, given everything that we've done so far?
Yeah, there's pretty much no or minimal or very minimal fears. So we've got the structure, we've got the exact funnel, the amount of outreach I need to be doing, that we've got either the schedule to go out or I need to be creating every week for a small section of time for the week. And then it's literally just doing the calls, winning clients, and then going from there. But yeah, and then we grow.
Yeah. And then last question, just to end on, is I guess what would you say to someone who is maybe on the fence about working with me one-on-one, is maybe hesitant, fearful, any of these normal emotions when it comes to making a big decision? What would you say to that person?
Yeah, it's really been really good. It's the daily, obviously we've got you on WhatsApp. We talk most days, and there's always question answering, and the calls every week are really helpful. And yeah, and obviously you've got loads of experience of other people doing very similar or the same thing. So, it's I definitely would buy again.